Hi guys, welcome. Today we are reviewing a set of carbon trekking poles we bought off of AliExpress. They are the Naturehike NH18D020-Z. I'm sure that name makes perfect sense to someone out there. Trekking poles are one of those items where you seem to have two kinds of hikers. You got the ones who won't go anywhere without them, and you've got the ones who don't really get why you even need them unless you're on a mountain trail. Because we don't want to look like Nordic walkers, do we? Everyone knows there's a natural order to things, and hikers are kind of the cool kids of walking, right? We don't want to be down there with the kind of people who play lacrosse or tennis.
That graph is gonna piss off so many people. All jokes aside, looking cool is probably the least of your worries when you're out on a trail. I use my poles all the time because they have some really nice advantages. When you're walking, they help you to move thorns and nettles out of the way, so you don't get any ticks. You can also use them to set up your tent or tarp, as well as some other tasks on the trail. Mostly though, they have three important functions. They prevent slips and falls. They take the pressure away from the knees and other joints. And lastly, they allow you to be more efficient by using more muscle. If you've ever been on an elliptical machine, you know there is a big difference keeping that thing in motion with just your legs, or being able to use your arms. Now, granted, hiking is a bit different, but still, you'd be surprised how much power you can add by using your arms.
Trekking poles also have some disadvantages. There's the added weight, it's just one more thing to schlep around, and also it has kind of a different feel to it. It feels a bit more mechanical, like it takes away some of the freedom of unconstrained motion. That is completely subjective, by the way. Okay, onto the review. These were actually marketed as trail running sticks rather than hiking sticks. And I have to say, here in Belgium, or in Europe, we don't really encounter that many trail runners, which is fortunate because it can be kind of demotivating to be overtaken by someone doing 10 miles an hour when you're struggling uphill. But if you look at the guy in this Black Diamond commercial, you'll see that he's sporting the Black Diamond Distance Carbon Z, which is, I guess, the original that this Naturehike pole is based on. And the original, the Black Diamond Distance Carbon Z, is about twice the price, but it's also about 20% lighter. So depending on your budget and what you're looking for, that might also be a valid option. For the Naturehike, we paid 58 euros, which is about $68. Now, we're not trail runners, but we do appreciate the weight savings, and we're not particularly hard on trekking poles, so we decided to try these out. Now, they come in three sizes. You have the 110 centimeters, the 120 centimeters, which I have here, and a larger pole at 130 centimeters. Now, as you can see, once you set them up, there is no further adjustment possible. That might be a problem for you if you intend to use them with different people or with different tents. Or if you're doing a lot of more technical trails where there's a lot of uphill climbing or traversing hills sideways, because in those cases you may want to be able to adjust your pole length. They do have the extended grip, which could be interested in those situations as well, but they're not adjustable. On the bright side, of course, that means that there's one less mechanism to come undone or to get stuck and fail on you during a hike. And of course, the non-adjustability is also part of the weight savings. And there are some decent weight savings. At 170 grams each, these are about 40% lighter than traditional trekking poles. Here's a comparison with some other objects in the same weight range. These poles fold very short. They fit into the side pocket of pretty much every backpack, which we really love. Very convenient. They also unfold very quickly, and everything snaps into place with a satisfying click. They fold down reasonably fast, maybe not as fast as a good speed lock would, but close.
We had no issues with sturdiness, but I wouldn't choose these poles if you're looking for something that is rock solid. These will take a good amount of weight. And carbon is a remarkable material, but they weigh less than a t-shirt. So adjust your expectations accordingly. There is a tiny bit of wobble that seems to come mostly from the joint where the pin clicks into place. I didn't mind it, and I think it's hard to avoid this type of design, but it might be an issue for you. So again, these are not the poles for someone who is looking for absolute stability.
Okay, onto the handles and the straps. If I've learned anything from hiking and backpacking, it's that good contact points are important. Like when you're on a bike, you know, the saddle, the pedals, the handles, if something rubs you the wrong way from hours on end, a small thing can become a problem. A bit like a marriage, small things, good and bad, get amplified over time. Now I had my mind on a cork handle, but they didn't have that exact combination in this price, size, weight bracket, so I settled for these EVA foam handles. And they've been okay for now, but I am keeping an eye on them. The strap adjustment is a bit of a weird system that you see on a lot of these poles. It doesn't make an awful lot of sense to me, but it does get the job done, so no real complaints there. The tips are not replaceable, they seem glued on, they don't have the kind of screwing mechanism that you see in more expensive brands. That might be an issue for you. Either way, AliExpress is not exactly customer service central. This small part here, the small basket, is also fixed, so you can't take that off either. So in conclusion, do we like them? We do. They offer a lot of bang for the buck. They are very convenient. Just the speed and the satisfying click when you set them up, the weight and being able to fit them into the side pockets of a backpack are all small things that do add up to a product that we enjoyed using. We think they're a good first entry into trekking poles and a good all-round pole for people who are looking to get their base weight down but don't require absolute rock-solid stability.